Hey YouTubers, it's me Dee of Brooklyn Dreadlocks. I am a newbie to making tutorials or videos on YouTube, so please bear with me. I'm going to try not to make this video as long as my first one. I am camera shy, but I'm also long-winded, so gotta try not to talk so much. On every single report card when I was a kid, in the back of my report card, the comment was always that I'm extremely talkative and I disrupt the class with my talking. So I'm gonna try, but it's hard. So I'm gonna talk about how often you should be twisting your hair. Now, I'm lazy. When I do my own hair, I wash it once every 2 weeks, which everyone should be washing at least once every 2 weeks to kill any bacteria or any fungus / mold / mildew that might be living in your hair, because it eats human hair, it eats human skin cells, and it eats your follicles and your natural oils and any additional oils that you add to it. And then when it eats your hair, your locks will start snapping. They'll start getting thin. They'll start snapping off at the root. All your hair will become brittle. It'll feel really dry. And just like your locks will turn into struggle locks real quick. So, as far as twisting goes, I'm so lazy, I only twist the front row. And of course, you see I did a braid out. So I wash my hair, braid it up, twist only the front row, just so it could look a little neat. See? But look at the inside. The inside is not twisted. Now, if I could get someone else to do my hair for me, I'm the hairstylist. It's hard to find people to do my hair, especially people that I trust. I'm really anal about how it's being done. I don't like people pulling my hair too much or anything. And I don't like people snapping my hair either. I just do it, the best way I can since this quarantine. I did interlock my hair one time during the quarantine, and that was about 3 weeks ago. And I did get a lot of new growth, so I have enough, if you could see here, I have enough growth where I should be twisting, but ain't nobody got time for that. I'm not twisting this whole head. I have 110 locks. Can't. I have 2 little ones and they don't allow it. So regularly, twisting should be done once a month. Once a month is good enough for twisting your hair. I would say the longest you should go without twisting it is 2 months. Only because those of you that might have an afro sitting under your locks right now, I don't know if you guys notice that there's some hairs that appear like it's growing away from the lock or it's detaching. So when I say growing away or detaching from the lock, I'm using exact quotes from my clients or like incoming clients that complain about the progression of the way their locks are growing. They would say, Dee, I find that my hair is growing away from my locks. Your hair is not growing away from your locks. Our hair still continues to shed. Remember once upon a time when we all used to comb our hair? The hair will come out in the comb. That's the natural shedding that should occur every day. Some people say 50 to 100 strands. Some people say 50 to 150 strands a day of loss, right? So when your hair is all locked up, those hairs that should be shedding is bounded to the lock. It cannot move, but it will not always be attached to your head. The hair has 3 phases of its growth cycle. And one is when it grows. I guess one is when it sustains. I have to look that stuff up to really explain it to you and break it down. But there is a phase where the hair drops off and there's a new strand that grows in to replace that hair. So your hair doesn't clone itself. It has to regrow and start from scratch. So I don't know if you see my little short fuzzies in between. These are my little new hairs that's growing in to replace whatever has shed from my scalp, but it still exists in the lock, right? Over time, if you do not continue to add these new hairs or bind these new hairs to the base of the lock, what will happen is that you will lose the entire lock altogether. This little square of hair right here isn't always going to be connected to my head. Whatever has grown over the years isn't going to always be connected to my head. It will shed, and what will be anchoring this lock to my head is the new hairs that I bounded, right? Right? So now I'm taking the little short hairs, I don't know if you see it, and now I'm wrapping it around. Now, the only time I do this on my clients is like if I'm doing a retwist, I'll wrap the hairs around. But like, let's say a client wants the works and they want crochet. Now those little hairs, I will literally take a tool and I will bind it to the lock. Another way, if you don't want to do crochet, is interlocking. That's where you use the latch hook needle. So you will literally take the hair and flip it into itself. Take the lock and flip it into itself over and over until you get down to the scalp. That's what I did to my hair the other day, just because I was tired of all the extra new growth. My hair texture is very loose, and sometimes twisting just don't cut it. It'll make it look neat, but then it will unravel, and my hair texture doesn't have enough tightness or kink to it, so it'll just look so fuzzy and it's kind of straight. I just interlocked it to get rid of that. I'm not a big fan of interlocking, but I would say if you're someone who has the little mini afro under your locks and the lock just hanging on by like 3 or 4 strands, you need a combination of interlocking and crocheting. And I call that method root locking. Anytime you hear me say anything about root locking, I'm locking your roots with 2 tools. I'm using the interlocking tool, which is the latch hook, and I'm using a crochet needle to bring all those brand new hairs into the lock and bind it with the lock. I only recommend things like interlocking or root locking 3 to 4 times a year. There's no need to do it more than that because it will upset the cylindrical form of the dread. See, dreads or locks shaped like a cylinder, and I think that look is most appealing to the eye, the cylindrical shape. And when you keep locking it with the latch hook needle, sometimes it will have notches. In some people's hair, it's more obvious to see the notches than others. I would say people with looser textures should try to stick more to a combination of crocheting and palm rolling instead of interlocking. I hate seeing like Caucasians or Asians or Hispanic people with very loose hair with interlocking. It just looks like dang. It looks like a braid. It doesn't look like locks anymore. Those people are better off just doing crocheting. Sometimes if they have like an excessive amount of new growth, I would do some interlocking, but then I crochet it so well that I'm able to use all the loose hairs surrounding the lock to camouflage that look of the interlocking, that pattern that I don't like so much. Please leave comments down below, and please subscribe. I'm going to cut the video now. It's already 9 minutes. I said I could talk. Let me not make it 18 minutes like the last one. Thank you, guys.